like we're able to prepare a lot for each series. I feel like our scrim days are super productive. I have a super hardworking team, but I think it would be unfair to our situation last year and our team last year to say we have the same kind of 100% confidence here.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT Americas KICKOFF 2025. For this occasion, I'm here accompanied once again by Kaplan, the head coach of Sentinels, coming off of a victorious result over Loud in the semifinals of the upper bracket to just move on to the upper bracket finals of said competition. So, Kaplan, thank you so much for another opportunity in this competition. Another W. Congrats. Moving on over against Loud. First and foremost, how are you feeling?
I'm all right. Tired. That was an emotionally fatiguing series and definitely frustrating at points, but glad we got a win. Just hard to feel much of anything right now. Took it out of us.
Yeah, it must be very numb. And when it comes to coming off of a series very numbly, like that goes to show it was a banger. And just got to cover first and foremost the series at hand. I mean, both maps. Oh, the first two maps went the full 24. In split, we kind of had the same inkling that maybe that was going to happen again. Nevertheless, you guys came out on top on that. Just want to ask you, just sort of the first two maps, how crazy was it just having to not only start off on the wrong foot, but having to like regroup, rebound, and having to just sort of refocus to then rebuild the momentum in the second map. How do you kind of view that time frame from your point of view?
Yeah. Map one was super frustrating. I got all the time in the world as a coach to deal with my frustration, to sit with it. For the players, they got to do a lot more than that, right? They got to get back out there. They got to focus on their game. They got to bounce back pretty immediately. So, um, tried to get them to let out their own frustrations for map two, right? I think they're all very good at it, just voicing it and moving on. They all trust each other. They know when they let out frustrations, they mean well. They all want to win. They all know they can be better. So, I think the guys did a good job collectively airing things out between the maps, and that was definitely the number one goal. Um, Unfortunately, we started slow on Pearl, but I felt like in terms of the team's mental state, it was better from the very start of the half.
You mentioned in one of the mid-season interviews, I believe with Liz, that like you kind of mentioned about how the team was scared, if that's the right way to kind of describe it. Exactly what did you see in the team that made you feel that you guys were in such a state during that initial phase of the series?
Yeah, there's definitely spots where we aren't going when we need to go. Right, we're not throwing our util and moving forward and scaling up. There's times where we aren't calling the peak together when we can. And then on the flip side, it's still being scared in a way, but not quite from the same angle. Like there was spots I felt like where we are at advantages, at high numbers, and yeah, we won them. Most of them, I think, on Lotus. But the way we won them, there's still we're calming like it's a very bad, dangerous, hectic situation when it's not. When we can look at, okay, it's a 4v2. We know this guy's here, and we're gonna win this. We've closed these rounds out. We're in a really good spot. We can sound like it, and I think we just had a hard time kind of feeling that as much as we deserved to. So
I mean, obviously, like coming into this match, there was a graphic shown from like the analysts and the commentators, covering VCT Americas, and basically everybody was unanimous in who thought they were going to win. That was your team, and obviously the result played out as it did, but not in the way that many people expected. Many people kind of looked at a 2-0 Sentinels
yeah,
victory, but then Loud just put up or more so Loud continued their form throughout the competition, just having to exceed expectations, just be a great team. And so, what I asked you, Kaplan, was like, um, how talk to me about like Loud's performance and how much of a thorn they were to your side and having to like deal with like the stuff that they were showing to you guys in the server, and also on top of that, what was the biggest obstacle that they showed exactly in that server?
and I don't think we felt super caught off guard by anything strategically. Obviously, we can't expect anything on certain maps like Lotus. We haven't seen their Lotus, but the comp they loaded in, the way they played it, all felt very comfortable, very standard. Like with a comp, you'd think a team would play like that. But I think they're very, I think even though their strategy isn't super adventurous, and sometimes I think it's fairly predictable, I think that they're a very, you know, clean team. They're gonna do what they set out to do correctly. They're not gonna make a lot of mistakes. They're not gonna make a lot of individual plays. They're not. They don't seem to me to be chaotic or scrappy, which means that we're not gonna get, you know, bailed out of our mistakes. We're not gonna get back into rounds for free. They're not just gonna hand us rounds by just running around or peeking us. So it was kind of like the balls in our court, right? If we can play clean and we can outplay them, cool. But if we're gonna make mistakes or get in bad spots, it felt really hard to kind of have the other team end up bailing us out of it, or you can't just stand there and wait for them to make a mistake.
Mhm. I want to move forward
They're a very
over into.
fundamental team, I guess. Sorry, would be the best way to put it.
eh, and yeah, like I said, I want to move forward into Split. I mean, there was a kind of moment that kind of like was like I would say a bookmark as to like the turn in momentum from like Loud to you guys, and I'm obviously looking at like Zekin's like ace, or not really ace, but like one before clutch, and how much of a mind fuck that was for the better for you guys, obviously. But like
Yeah.
going into that kind of time frame, um what else besides looking at Zekin's heroics prompted the turnaround for you guys and the subsequent victory on Split, and yeah.
Yeah. I think we went in, incredible from Zach. That was a really hard half, and he pulled off an incredible ace, and we were all just kind of stunned that he won that round. And it was really good timing because we were going into split defense, which is a half we felt very comfortable on, and obviously part of the benefit of getting 13 forward by 100 Thieves is there wasn't really any footage on our split defense, so we got to play our game and um, keep it pretty straightforward. And I know that Loud changed comps, but they didn't really. It wasn't a big change, one initiator, and it didn't drastically change how they played attack. So by that, we're in six half of the series. Like I felt like we finally found a group of just playing the way we intended to and doing what we set out to do, and actually looking drilled.
hmm I mean, you kind of said it right there, just talking about Split, and obviously you mentioned the previous match in 100 Thieves, when which we last saw you guys in said map. I mean, obviously from loss to win, it's a massive turnaround in just that. But like to go from 13-4 to now winning 13-9 against Loud in such a high stakes environment, to let's move on to top three in kickoff. Without revealing too much, of course, I don't want to be like a spy, but what made the switch from losing to 100 Thieves in Split to now being victorious in the same map?
Yeah, we only really had probably what I'm guessing like 9 or 10 practice days to navigate a new meta, and obviously we're messing around with the roles a little bit too. So there was just not a lot of time to be ready for the 100 Thieves game, and it was a huge game to win for anybody because it in our spot it bought us 2 more weeks, right? We basically had we doubled the amount of practice time we've had from the first series to the second series. It didn't really show up today, but just had a lot of time to clean up on things and watch back games and learn and yeah, kind of find our footing more on each of these maps in our map pool.
Mhm. Top three once again in kickoff. Are you sensing that deja vu from last year? Where you guys were doing very well, especially at the start of the year. You moving on forward, waiting on whoever is you face, either Lev or G2. So deja vu all over again, or not?
A little different for sure. Obviously by the time we were at that point last year, we'd been kind of rolling. We were winning a few games. We made it through play in, and then it's like I think we had some more momentum. Obviously the off season win too. So um, the I felt like the stage confidence and just the team confidence was more of a surefire thing this time around. I feel like we get a lot better day to day. Like we're able to prepare a lot for each series. I feel like our scrim days are super productive. I have a super hardworking team, But I think it would be unfair to our situation last year and our team last year to say we have the same kind of 100% confidence here. We have to make sure we really build on it from series to series, including after a sloppy game, right? No one likes having a sloppy game. We all know we did, but we got to learn how to still go, okay, a win is a win, and we're getting there, and that was a bad day. Us on a good day is going to be really scary because we got to play again in 6 days. So,
Even with bringing in narrate and a bang into the squad, it still looks like you guys are just kind of continuing the what's the kind of right way to say it, but more so the Sentinel strain, keep it moving without any bruises or bumps and bruises. I mean, just having to look at the team's continuation of their good form. What do you feel is just sort of been the biggest catalyst behind the team just gelling well so far in this competition?
yeah, I think all everyone on the team, all 7 of us, put a tremendous amount of work in, like, very consistently. Like, everyone always gives a ton of effort. Everyone works really hard on the game. Everyone works hard outside of practice. Just the hunger to win and the work ethic logically being attached to that is so unanimously shared and consistent across everyone that it just builds a lot of trust and comfort with each other. I think, we all feel like we have something, deep within us that's very similar and very special, right? Putting so much of our energy towards something. And I know that everyone can feel that everyone else has it, and it just makes for a really awesome time.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Definitely understand that. Hopefully, that momentum train can continue. I got one more question to squeeze in before I
Yeah, no
wrap
problem.
this up. I'm not sure if you noticed, but over in BLR, there's a little thread that just kind of popped out, just sort of talking about the 100-page scout
Yeah.
of like icebox in that one map. I mean, pretty wild, but not really wild because it is BLR we're talking about, as said by Zekin or Zelsa's back in champions. But the point that I want to bring to you is this. I mean, what do you feel is the perfect way to have a good scouting report? What do you feel needs to be done in order to have good scouting, good work in that tangent? And yeah.
Yeah, you gotta obviously know what a team does, but you also have to expect what they will try to do differently, what they will try to do around what you've been doing, and you know you need to present. You need to decide how much of that is going to be impactful to present to the team. If you present certain things that don't end up true, you might confuse your team and cause a failed round. You might overload them with information. These guys have to think about their own game plan, their own attitude, their own mental state, their teammates. They have a tremendous amount of pressure on them. You got to keep it pretty bite sized. And it's a very, very difficult part of coaching to know how to get a team prepared for an opponent and what they do without getting in their head and without overloading them. I would say that if a scouting report is 113 pages, yeah, that signals hard work, but it signals a lack of understanding that a lot of your job is about making things condensed for people who are already working 12 hours a day. And that would be my feedback to people wondering about how to be an analyst. Provide very crucial information that will be valuable and provide it in a simple way is by far the most important part when it comes to that stuff.
Page number count. What's the optimal amount?
For one map of an opponent, maybe 4 pages.
Okay. All right. Massive 100 pound or page downsize from that. So appreciate the honest advice on that. Hopefully, all of you VLR readers and watchers and all that stuff can take that into account. And yeah,
Yeah.
Kaplan, thank you so much for giving me a chance to do this interview once again. Hopefully, I can talk to you again in another capacity, another setting in the future. Congrats on the W, and of course, best of luck in the upper finals.
Thank you very much, Pedro.